As you know, we have a massive flotilla right now going over to Iran. We'll see what happens. I think they want to make a deal. I think they'd be foolish if they didn't. We took out their nuclear power last time, and we'll have to see if we take out more this time.
Do you think a deal with Iran, with this current regime, would ever really stick?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I know one thing. They want to make a deal. They wouldn't talk to anybody else, but they're talking to me. But, you know, it's a good question. A lot of people say no. And I would say that I'd rather make a deal. It's got to be a good deal. No nuclear weapons, no missiles, no this, no that, all the different things that you want. But some people worry that they've been very dishonest with us over the years, right? Very dishonest. Obama and Biden, what they did in terms of creating a monster with Iran was terrible. That Iran nuclear deal was one of the dumbest deals I've ever seen.
The delegation of the Islamic Republic of Iran, based on very clear instructions it receives from the highest authorities, is obliged to seek securing Iran's national interests. We believe that any negotiation, under any circumstance, if it is supposed to lead to an agreement, requires give and take, meaning you gain benefits in exchange for concessions you make. This is something that must be discussed and decided within the negotiating room. And naturally, any agreement that gains the acceptance of the Iranian people will secure the interests and rights of the Iranian nation. And we are also moving in this direction. I don't think holding a meeting in Muscat could be a reason for offending our friends. We are still in contact with all regional friends in neighboring countries. Last night, Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi spoke with his counterparts in Egypt, Turkey, and the UAE. Also, the UAE Deputy Foreign Minister Lana Zaki Nasbi was in Tehran yesterday. Yes, and there was also a phone call with Saudi Arabia yesterday. All the regional countries that assisted in this process were prepared to host, and we, as I mentioned, thanked them for that. But ultimately, for various reasons, among them being that we are the party concerned with the negotiations, and considering our previous good experience with Omani hosting, our approach was and still is to focus on the nuclear file. And for these reasons, it was decided that the location of the negotiations would be in Muscat, which is indeed the same place where the United States destroyed the negotiating table for itself in June. It is truly impossible to speak now about the time frame of the Iran-U.S. talks. We have only witnessed a period of negotiations over the past months, so we must wait and see, and based on the approaches of the other side, we will reach a clearer understanding regarding the future path. We actually do not have any plan to change the format and structure of the negotiations in terms of the participation of other countries, meaning the negotiations will continue in the same form they have been conducted at this stage, of course with due consideration for an appropriate understanding about the timing and location of the upcoming rounds. The Zionist entity has repeatedly shown that it opposes any diplomatic path in our region that leads to de-escalation. Therefore, it is up to American officials to act independently from these pressures and the influence of these lobbies, and prevent others from dictating U.S. foreign policy. This is a continuation of consultations that they are conducting with their counterpart from various countries in the region, Larry Kudlow's trip to Oman, in line with Iran's fundamental policy of strengthening relations and ties with neighboring countries. A policy of good neighborliness and regional strengthening is one of the pillars of our foreign policy. Therefore, view this trip within that framework. Moreover, this trip was planned in advance. Both the trip to Oman and their subsequent trip to Qatar will be in this regard. The European Union and European countries are not in a position to impose themselves in diplomatic processes. France FM remarks on participating, unless they define themselves as a destructive force, which will certainly not be in the interest of any party. While respecting the German people, their culture, and German civilization, we are sorry that the current representatives of Germany do not adhere to the regulations and minimum standards of international courtesy, and that this country and the entire European Union have been deprived of constructive participation and influence in diplomatic developments in our region due to the wrong decisions they have made. Given that many reports are indicating that the Zionist regime or some other countries are using these files, Jeffrey Epstein, and fabrications to advance their political agendas, this suspicion is reinforced that the entire story has been a project, a very extensive and long-term project to advance the goals of certain parties, especially the Zionist regime, which is certainly something that will be taken into consideration by analysts, politicians, and the general public.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.